in the absence of Joe Fernie, our chairman, who will be along shortly, I believe, but we won't wait any longer. So we'll open the meeting, and first of all, to our board, to approve the minutes of April 20th, 2022.
Yeah, I'd like to read them, because I didn't
Please do,
get
yep.
them in the mail.
Please do.
You mean in paragraph 3? I would just write strike instead of stricken number 6. I would put strike number 6.
Stricken strike. Makes sense, yep. We know it's been taken away, right?
Yep.
Well, he asked. I don't think it was, but
No, we didn't do anything with that. We didn't
No,
change
we
that.
didn't.
I'm just
Okay.
saying I would just correct that.
Yeah,
Yep.
correction to change stricken to strike.
Yeah. I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'm still reading.
Still reading?
Thank you.
Raised beds on the patio with new soil,
I don't believe the new soil's there yet,
No,
but
is it?
the beds
Okay.
are on the patio.
okay?
Anything planted yet? No, oh, there's no soil.
There's no soil yet.
The soilless plants are in.
Mm-hmm. Air plants.
Hey, I've got some stuff growing in the water.
Yep.
Well, not really, but sort of.
I'm all set. Thank you for waiting.
Go ahead, Diane.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of March 25th. We've got one change.
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes? Aye. Any opposed? None. Next, we'll go to our director's report.
We still have the one vacancy up in Hillside. We did not come up with any viable candidates that qualified for it, so we had to pull a new list. We did the inspections on building 3 and 4 yesterday. There were no real major problems, so the guys should be able to take care of the minor stuff quickly. The hallway project, they did come in and they did strip the flooring out of it, and I think all in all it went smoothly. I know it disrupted some of you, but I think it went pretty good. Putting the tiles in, well, the stuff was supposed to be delivered Monday. It was supposed to come yesterday before 10. It showed up at 5:30, and there's no adhesive. So the guy was going out today to buy adhesive, and they'll be here tomorrow to start. So that should be completely finished by midweek next week.
Good.
The ramp, we still waiting from DHCD on the health and safety, and that was just because of how our annual plan had been submitted but not approved, so they had to follow steps. So we're still working on it, okay? And then the formula funding award from the Arpa funds, from the government. The funds available to us was the $74,000. We have to let DHCD know by June 30th how we plan on using it, and we have to use it by the end of December of 2024. So they're giving us a presentation next week at the conference on how to actually go about doing the paperwork correctly. So
Is anybody going to the conference?
I am going.
Okay. And do we have any idea on a project that we would want to use that money, the ARPA money for?
So what I'm hearing through the grapevine is that it will be easier to pull a project that we've got set up already. And because that's already been, we've already submitted it and we've already been approved, then we have all the paperwork part of it is already in, so they're telling us to take something of one of those projects that are out a couple years and pull them in. But that's just what I'm hearing through the grapevine. I'll know next week when I sit through the presentation.
How long are you gonna be gone?
It's Monday through Wednesday.
Okay, so it's real quick.
Yeah. It's
That's
just a
on the
quick-
Cape again?
On the
Cape?
Cape, yeah.
What part?
Falmouth?
Barely.
Yeah, just a smidge.
Is anybody else going from here?
No,
No.
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 Would Kelly ever be involved with going to something like that?
Shelley?
Shelley, yeah.
I asked her, but because of her family, she isn't able to get away.
Okay, I
So-
didn't know if it was a
Yeah.
possibility that
Pardon?
she
She-
might go at some point.
She did,
Held off on it.
last year
We've
they
done
had
this,
it,
yes, we've held off on
was it
this,
last year or the
so
year before, they had
we
it
should have her
on
report.
Zoom because of
Next
COVID.
week, pause, review,
And
go
she
back
did
to that.
partake in that
Okay.
one, and the trainings through
Okay.
that, but
And maybe when you do,
um,
I might be
she's
helpful
not
for you
able to
read
get
a
away
portion
because of her
the
kids.
policy,
Okay.
so it's clear
What about
because
the,
what is here.
Oh, yeah.
Jim
She-
and
she had-
Dakota? Is there anything coming up
she
for
had a
them to go
conversation
to?
with
the Mahams
Caroline
concert,
about the whole
the
grievance
Mahams
process.
conference
that
is
what
in
we're
September,
talking
and that's
about?
the construction side,
Yes,
so that would
it's
be in
here to-
September.
Okay.
I don't have dates for that
Cover
yet.
this here in the
Okay.
audience.
Okay,
But Mahams has training throughout the whole year, so
Okay.
they've gone to day things and done Zoom things, so.
Okay, all right.
okay.
Huh.
Okay. So we're done with directors?
Yes,
So did we say we're gonna pivot back now to public?
no policy review now.
Okay, policy review.
So to the policy review, I did change the policies that you voted on last month. I just wanted to give you the finalized copies of them. And I did include a copy of the public participation at a GHA board meeting because Mr. Soul always brings it up,
Okay,
so.
Would you want me to read these before we look at it again? So
No, I guess, well, it's
have they been
entirely up to
posted?
you.
Have they been posted anywhere?
I haven't posted them yet, I just wanted the final okay from you guys before I put them up. Just
Okay.
wanted you to know that I did them the way that you had asked me,
oh, okay.
that's all.
Do you think they should be read? Other members?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which one? No particular order. We have one on grounds, flower beds around the buildings. The grounds around each building are the property of the Granby Housing Authority. The Housing Authority welcomes the dedication and care that is put into the flower beds by the tenants. Residents must seek permission from management before planting, pruning, trimming, or removing trees, shrubs, plants, flowers, or bushes. Please remember each section of flower bed must be shared equally amongst the tenants in that hallway. No tenant is to plant in a section that is not directly around their specific hallway. All vegetation planted in the back of the buildings by the heat pump condensers must be low flowering as to not grow into the condensers. The use of any type of trap by a tenant to catch or kill any animal is not allowed anywhere on GHA property. And this is the one that was approved by us on April 20th. Second one is weed killer / insecticide / fertilizers. Granby Housing Authority water supply comes from a well. The use of weed killers, especially Roundup and insecticides, by tenants is not allowed on GHA property, as this may be harmful to the drinking water supply. Only GHA-approved organic fertilizers are allowed to be used in gardens on GHA property. The contaminants that seep into the ground have a detrimental effect on our drinking water and therefore our health. Those are the two policies that are new, with changes.
Okay, what,
Doing this thing?
which is what?
Oh, that's just, I included a copy of the public participation at the board meetings because Mr. Soul always seems to bring it
Okay,
comment on it, so I just
Okay.
made sure we
Okay.
had a copy of it.
Can we
We
just,
didn't make changes, right?
We didn't
Yeah,
make
I
changes
didn't
to
think
it,
so.
no, it was just for a reference,
Okay.
that's
Yep.
all.
Thank you.
can we just approve these two policies?
We did
You've already
this time
approved them, those were
in
just,
April.
we
Okay,
approved,
So we're all set, so this
right,
is all
right, and those
set.
were the changes, and
And
so
they were-
that's the
And they'll
fun.
be posted
yep,
somewhere,
yep.
okay?
And then the tenants submitted a letter on anti-bullying, zero tolerance at Finn's Hill. I gave you guys a copy of that
Mm-hmm,
and what Don had,
So,
is requesting.
so it says, and I didn't even read it yet, but it says on the undersigned tenants and there's no names on it.
Well, honestly, they're right here, I didn't photocopy them, but all of the tenants' names are right here.
42 out of 56 units signed.
okay,
And I will gladly put my name as author because I did write it. I will gladly sign it.
okay,
All I want to make sure is that if somebody sends a letter of any kind to anybody on this board or to Boston, if you don't put your names on it, it goes in the round file. It will not be addressed in any way. So if you want something to be addressed, sign your name to it.
That wasn't a letter, that was a decision.
Right.
I'm talking, if anybody sends a letter of any kind to us or anybody else, if it's not signed, it's not going to be addressed. That's all I'm asking, because this was not signed. I do
hold
not
on,
have
yes
any-
it is, here,
All
I
I'm
just
saying
didn't give
is
you
she
that-
made a copy of the letter, this is what came to us, this plus 42 signatures, okay?
All
So
right.
it's signed, okay? Here we go. Okay, so,
Does it need to be read aloud for?
well, no, because it just says that we need to have a policy. We don't have that.
Actually, you could read through it and then, next month.
Sorry about that.
Okay, well, here's what, go ahead, Don, why don't you read what,
Okay. Because of certain things, I went to Webster to get a definition of what bullying is. And I came up with, well, Webster presented two different definitions. Abuse and mistreatment of someone vulnerable by someone stronger, more powerful, etc. The actions and behavior of a bully. Second, prone to or characterized by overbearing mistreatment and domination of others. For the purposes of our discussion of implementing an anti-bullying policy here at Finsell Manor, the above mentioned definitions of bullying will be acceptable. This is due to the overwhelming response that came from a letter that was brought around for tenants to sign. Therefore, we need to address this concern sooner rather than later. Additional information, according to the Ombuds report, the manager, executive director of any multi-dwelling is a mandated reporter. And it's just a brief policy, bullying policy / zero tolerance. We find ourselves living in a post-pandemic society. This alone is stressful enough without having to consider in a community of senior citizens and some folks with some serious disabilities. Unfortunately, bullying can become a catchphrase, as so many of the words we use, such as face covering, social distance, they all apply to us and are real to the tenants. Here at Finsell Manor, bullying any sort, verbal, emotional, or otherwise, will under no circumstances be tolerated any longer. If you are bullied, report the incident immediately in writing to the executive director, who will deal with it on a case-by-case basis. Further, if you see something, say something. Again, in writing, recorded immediately to the executive director. Respectfully submitted to Executive Director Tammy Bebo, Granby Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, from Donald Lindsay, tenant board member.
Who does one report, a mandated reporter, who you report that to?
There's a hotline, a 1-800 hotline that I have, that I report to.
Great.
Mhm.
State of Massachusetts.
Yeah. It's in Springfield. It's the Department of,
Greater Springfield Senior Services.
they're in that building, but they're not part of them, is what they've told me.
I just think that everyone has such a knee-jerk reaction. You say something
Right.
to someone, you say you're bullying them. So I think abuse and mistreatment of someone is very broad,
Mm-hmm.
and it could be, you know, so I don't.
Anybody can say that, anybody can take anything somebody
Yes.
says as bullying,
Yes.
and then how do I,
Yeah, I think it's just too,
how do you prove it?
yeah.
How do you, what do I do about it? You know, I can call senior services or the department, and they ask you a bunch of questions. And you answer the questions, and then if they feel it's worthy, then they send it on to the next level. And then somebody gets back to you, where you have 24 hours to put it in writing. So those are the steps that have happened so far. I
Is that how we would, I mean, I think if nothing else, I mean, I agree, it's hard to define bullying. It's sort of just like what is inappropriate touching.
Right.
You know, it migrated, now it's like whatever I feel or think. So I think it's good that we would state that we have, that we don't tolerate bullying, but I think that then we should leave it to the social services standard and use that as a protocol. Unless anybody has a better service that they have basically encountered, So that's what so I think it's harder to define. I agree with you, Diane, it's really hard to define bullying because, for one person what bullying is, because they feel intimidated. For another person, it's just somebody blowing off steam and, you don't even worry about it. So it all depends on the interaction of the two parties. So that's why I would agree we should have something states, bullying, we comply with whatever state anti-bullying ordinance. I think there's a law someplace on the books now related to that we could put into the document. And then we would say the procedure is somebody files a complaint, and then that complaint, I'm sort of loath here to give Tammy another 5 hours a week of work, but I guess the way we would start is then that complaint would be dealt with or communicated with through the social services group. If they think that meets a standard that they think might qualify, then you put that in writing, and then it has to go in as a grievance.
Can't they make the complaint directly themselves?
They
instead of
can.
through her?
They can call the Department
Yeah, why
of
can't they-
Elder Abuse. It basically is what it is, Department of Elder Abuse. You ask for the department, and then you talk to them.
Yeah.
Is there any involvement with our police department? Is there any recourse
Nope.
there at all? No.
No.
I'm sorry.
There's no Massachusetts law.
I thought there was a school law that they had passed.
That might be.
Oh, that's
school
cyberbullying. Okay, that's cyberbullying.
And I've even heard from DHCD that they don't, Carolina does not have an answer for us. She
No.
left it up to us to decide what we need to do. I've checked many websites without any help because they don't have bullying policies from Chicopee to Boston. And Boston's policy about bullying and harassment is from employee to tenant. Does not deal with
Tenant to
tenant.
tenant, right. So,
This is so narrow. If you put this in as a policy, you've got just these two little sentences that define it. You just gotta say.
no,
I mean,
no, well, what I'm saying here is that since my view here is that since the definition of bullying can be so broad, that it's a touchy-feely kind of thing for a lot of people, you generate certain emotion, whatever, that what we should basically state is that we're opposed to bullying, and maybe the policy should be the following: if you feel that you've been bullied, what we would like you to, the procedure is as follows: call social services, phone number here, ... Review that with them. If they're in agreement,
Yeah.
okay, if they feel that you might have something, then based on what you said to them, so you have to be, then you write that up as a grievance and you take it to Tammy, and then we begin to deal with it from there. Okay? So, anyway, that's how I see, maybe that's how it would work best, because we can either try to define bullying, but then it needs to be very narrow based on the specific language that we do. And since most people don't view bullying that way, I don't think that that's an appropriate way to deal with it. But anyway.
It's all based on interpretation.
Yeah.
I can say something to you or something to Diane. She might take offense and you wouldn't, so it's just how you interpret it. And we are not here to be the interpreters. As you said,
no,
I think they should go to the information that you're suggesting that they put on there, the contact information.
But if that social services group feels strongly that you might have a case, then you need to file it as a grievance.
Well, they would, if you were to call
Right, or-
if you were to call the Department of Elder Abuse and report it,
Mhm.
and whoever takes the initial call feels that it warrants something, they will assign a case manager to it.
Oh,
And the case
okay.
manager will call you and help you deal with it.
Okay, so what you're saying here is that we're not going to deal with it at all.
We're just going to deal with it in as far as we give them the information to
Right.
contact the Department of Social Services. That. I don't-
Okay, well, okay, then in that, so if Elder Services felt, Tammy, that there was a case,
Mhm.
would they be reaching out to you too?
They would reach out to
automatically?
me automatically.
So we don't have to really direct that in a document that we put together, because that's gonna be an automatic procedure. So we don't tolerate bullying, okay?
We basically
Um,
just say we do not tolerate it. If you feel it is happening to you, this is a number you can call to
Report it.
report it.
Have you developed a form? There should be a bullying form that's gotta have the information you need on it.
That's
Who
There's-
did what, when, where, and how, period.
They have a form, because I am a mandated reporter, when I called to report something, they sent me once the girl got back to me, the girl that it was assigned to got back to me, I had 24 hours to fill out the form and fax it over to her. So they
if
have a
somebody calls
form.
them, they will send a form to that
No,
person?
they send a social worker.
No, if somebody calls them and reports something, if the person that takes the initial report feels that it warrants it, he will assign a caseworker. Hi, we're in a meeting, you'll have to come back, okay? Thank you. So if I report something, it gets assigned to a caseworker if they feel it warrants it. The caseworker will get in touch with whoever reported it. So if Diane reports it and the person feels it warrants something, then the caseworker will call Diane and ask Diane a whole bunch more questions. If Diane is a mandated reporter, then she has 24 hours to get the form into the department. If she's not a mandated reporter, there's nothing to fill out.
Okay, so you are a mandated reporter.
I am a mandated reporter.
But none of us are.
No, we're just the board.
No.
Right, so,
I asked Don, you said 42 people signed this?
42 people signed it.
as,
Is this because a number of these people have felt they have been bullied, or they're aware that bullying is occurring on the grounds?
I think it's more an awareness there are some that probably felt they have been bullied, but I would say the majority are, it's just that they're aware of it and they don't like it.
Bullied by other tenants?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is tenant to tenant.
this is tenant to tenant.
And employees to tenants, not just tenant to tenant.
So some people feel that way, okay.
But wouldn't the employee to tenant then become a grievance?
Yeah, if they
So
report
that
it,
would
if
be
they
dealt
don't
with
report it.
differently if they felt that it was
Right.
employee.
Right.
Because then that goes into the DHCD grievance hearing process and all
Right.
of that.
What sparked this for myself was the bullying between tenants. And the way it seems to have engulfed our community. It's a topic of conversation daily that I
Yeah.
hear. And Tammy's heard, and Tammy spends lots of time on it. That's why I wrote it. In terms of staff, I'm not gonna bite off that issue.
Right, but that could be, but even without having a bullying policy, if someone feels that the director or one of the maintenance people or whatever employee is bullying them or intimidating them or whatever, they already have that right to file a grievance.
Correct.
So that's automatic, we don't call it,
Right.
So maybe in the written document that we put together, it would be, regarding bullying, if you feel that an employee of DHCD has bullied you, then you file that as a grievance, And otherwise, if it's tenant to tenant, somebody else here in the facility or a caregiver of yours, then you would call Elder Care Services and you would go through that procedure. So that would clarify it because it would either be one, it would fall into one or the other category.
And that nullifies a need for because it is so subjective, that nullifies a need to spell out any definition in the written
Right.
document of what we're calling bullying.
Right, because it's in the mind of the
Right.
person who feels that they're the victim of bullying. So,
Okay, I'll retweak it for next month.
okay, so maybe,
No.
so maybe right now that we've done that, if there's no other policies, right now would be a good time to go to public comment so that then, since we've been talking about this and other issues, individuals, tenants here can chime in, so.
If they're ready,
Can I
yeah.
just ask Tammy a question? So right now, what we've discussed, you're going to rewrite whatever, and then bring it back to our next meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Correct. Okay, so, anything else before I turn it over? Jim, you've got the floor.
First thing was there any action on the discussion at the last meeting about the tenants' rights? The new regulations that you wrote? I questioned item 6.
On the policy right here in your left hand.
I mean, public participation, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yep.
I had questioned item 6 and the board said they would take it under advisement.
Well,
Said that should be stricken in its entirety.
I don't think we thought it should be, because
We
we
said no, yeah.
we said no.
because because we don't,
Did you read it?
because then we violate privacy if we allowed that to happen. Because point 6 says, in public participation of a meeting, the board of directors will not hear personal charges or complaints concerning GHA personnel, nor any other member of the GHA board of directors or GHA community. So all we're saying here is that any complaints directed specifically against another tenant will not be discussed in this open forum here. So the point being is that if you have a problem, you file a grievance. Because if we put it out in the open, now it all becomes a potential violation of privacy rights, depending on what people basically say. So I believe, that was at least my interpretation of why we would leave it in, but anybody else?
Well, from my experience, most of that is the same kind of statement that's in any public comment meeting. So no one is just attacked verbally, because they didn't do this or that or the other thing. And then we sit here as a board and we know nothing about it. This is not the place to air anybody's dirty laundry. That's not the way. As Joe said, I think grievances would be the way to follow. Or face-to-face meetings with the issue, not out in a public forum here, because it's just not right. It's just not right. All my years in the school system, someone's not going to stand there in a meeting and all of a sudden attack a teacher at a public meeting when everybody else knows nothing about it. It's just not the place for it. So that's why that is in there, Jim, and I can understand where you may be coming from, but from our viewpoint, this, I think, is the correct professional stance to be in.
And it's hearsay. You could defame a person by allowing this to
If
basic.
the tenant has a problem with a board member, he's not allowed to talk about it at a meeting?
According to this, no.
That's why I suggested that should be changed.
But you can file a grievance against the board.
Or you could request a face-to-face meeting if I was the one. Let's have a talk, air our laundry amongst ourselves, not when it's really nobody else's business in a way. There's just a fine line between that. I understand there's a fine line, then where do you go and where do you not, So,
All right, so the board's not gonna do anything about item 6 then?
No, we're not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, did anyone have a comment about the anti-bullying discussion that they wanted to address before I got to the next person? Go ahead.
This is regarding reporting elder abuse to the number, the phone number that you get to find out what to do. And Tammy, it sounds like you're gonna put something together regarding timing.
Hmm?
What they did was, a caseworker came out and talked to the person the next day, and someone was supposed to get back to the reporter, and no one ever did, and weeks went by, and they were called again, and they said that someone would be talking or going or whatever, and it's been a couple of months, and no one has talked to the reporter, and then they only saw the person about which the abuse was reporting. They only talked to her the next day. And I'm assuming that when you make the phone call, they ask if it's an emergency.
Mhm.
Is there an emergent danger? And the answer was no. It's not emergent danger, but it's a over the long time it's very damaging, and so it's just kind of been left there. So to put timing on it will be hard, because if the example be the experience I'm talking about, it's just not urgent to them.
Right. The only thing I could say to that was, I know when I called, I got the person's name and a phone number and an extension, and I checked back with her the following week to see what the outcome was, and just kind of kept in touch with them just to make. Then again, I don't, I'm the executive director here, so I don't know whether that's something they're doing because I'm overseeing it or not.
Maybe so,
But I just
yeah.
know that I did stay in touch with her to make sure that what I needed, what my concerns were addressed.
Messages
So.
were left and the number and a
Yeah.
promise that someone would call me, and and just never did. So
Did you call them back?
called them a couple times.
Did you get a name or any other information?
Yes.
for-
Of the contact of the caseworker, yes.
If you'd like to sit with me on another date, and maybe there's something I can get in touch with someone down there
All right.
with you.
I don't know if it's a shortage of help, which is kind
Everywhere.
of everywhere, and how they decide what's more urgent than another thing. I don't know that either.
Okay.
So I'd be glad to talk to you about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I was wondering if the bullying continues on a regular basis, what are the consequences to the person that bullies another person? Do they get to keep doing that and doing it and doing it? Because this seems to be a problem that's really, really troubling, and nothing seems to be done about it. I don't know what to say about that, but that's how I feel.
Well, I think we have to reach, because of the definition of bullying or the challenge, I think what we have to do, Tammy, is reach back out to Caroline and say, okay, is bullying an offense that permits us to evict the tenant? Because that bullying is continuing. I don't know, so we need to find that out.
Okay.
Well, maybe, has this been reported to the Department of whatever, what's the name of the agency?
DHCD.
Yes.
No.
Greater Springfield
No.
Senior Services?
Okay.
Elder abuse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not of our hands, it's now in their hands, initially, to find out and
Well, they-
determine what's going on, and we as a board cannot do anything about it.
Well, here.
At this point, anyway.
Yes. What I would suggest would be that we develop and evolve our strategy elder care plan, and then based on that, we also then reach back out to DHCD, Carolina, and whoever, and basically say, hey, if this occurs, and we have this investigation going on because it looks like there's some serious bullying going on, is that an evictable offense? Can we then, if that person is found to be bullying and they just won't do we have grounds or a procedure for basically evicting that person from our facility, because that is the only solution?
And if we don't put some teeth in it, it just becomes another piece of paper. It gets thrown out when Tammy posts it or goes around to the community.
Well, if elder care truly finds bullying, I mean, that's a whole different thing, because now bullying is harassment, and harassment now there are legal remedies in the legal code that would enable you to bring a criminal procedure against that person.
That is beyond our purview.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying that we need to find out if DHCD has any teeth in terms of bullying and
Well, the issue, like
eviction.
the lady was referring to, the issue is a timing thing. If I have done something to someone, and this person perceived it that I was bullying them, and the person fills a report out, when I don't hear about it to even be called in, did you really do that? For 2 or 3 weeks later, it's lost. It's lost. It's like nothing's going to happen now. So it's, the whole simple premise is that if I'm bullying you, you fill the report out, as soon as possible, I got to be questioned. Did you really do this? And if you did, it's got to be put on and say, hey, you're bullying him. It's got to stop.
Well, you need
Without
to
a punishment. The punishment is not the thing. It's just like, it's got to stop. You cannot do that.
Yeah,
It's not
but if
what's
you won't
expected.
stop, what are the
Then-
teeth? The only teeth is, hey, if you don't stop, you can't live here anymore. Because that's really where, I mean, you can talk about all that legal stuff, but if you really nail it down to people's personalities and how they react and all of that, I mean,
Well, that's
you
not
know,
the
you
purpose.
have to-
You don't want someone evict someone here, just like if someone does in school. You're not going to say,
If
I'm
someone
throwing
does-
I'm throwing you out of school here now. That's not the purpose. That's not what you want to do.
yeah, but
just
if you won't stop bullying,
Yeah, but that's why there's a paper trail. If it's got to be done, if you're not doing it, if you're still bullying after the 3rd or 4th time, then we have a real problem here. And who knows who can ever fix that? The only people who can fix that are the 2 people who are going at each other.
and they
That's the only-
can't fix it.
Well, then,
Because,
that's what I'm saying. If
because at that point, you're in what I call like American Never Land. I mean, everybody's in their own fantasy and reality now, and they just want to interpret, they're getting
Right,
away with
so-
interpreting things that way. So yes, you could build a paper trail. I'm not saying you bully once and you're out of here, but I'm saying at the same time, if there is that trail that you talk about, a couple of occurrences, then we need some teeth.
Right,
Because
and
you
then-
can't just, there is no teeth to go up and say, oh, you're a bad person, let's stop. You better stop that right now.
Well,
That,
we cannot do that unless we have authority. We're not gonna to get authority to do anything.
No, I'm
Until
not
we-
asking for the authority. What I'm saying here is we need to find out what DHCD's policy is, or we need to have a bullying policy in DHCD so we can deal with it.
They don't have a policy.
Well, of course not, because their job is to put people in facilities and keep a roof over their head.
So we're going round and round here about nothing. If the, first things first, whoever's doing the, feels as though they're being bullied, then they have to go to that agency and report it. And then from there, it has to go through the channels.
And it's been continuing.
And it's
for-
not us, we're not the channel.
I understand that, Gloria. Let me make a statement. This has been going on for 18 months.
So,
Obviously, they can't
Have-
resolve it for themselves.
but have they contacted that agency and reported it?
From all reports that I've heard, yes.
I'd like to see where that's been done.
Well, it's.
Have
I
they
can't
done
prove it.
that? Have they reported it?
I've gotten a phone call from the department once regarding it.
Okay, and,
She asked me questions regarding it. That's,
Okay.
I mean, they don't have to tell me what their findings
oh,
are.
I understand, I
She
understand. I
she
just
called
wanted
me
to know
and
if
she
there
said
was,
that she had a complaint and, would I answer some questions, which I did.
okay, so that's where it ended. Apparently, they
don't-
didn't follow through on it.
I don't know, it's not.
No, what happened was the agency did not initially get back in a timely fashion like they said they would. So then the tenant had to follow up again, and there still has basically been no action. Is that correct?
Well, I think you got two different scenarios going
You've got two
on each
different
different
people
sides of the room.
complaining about two different things. We've got
Okay.
somebody sitting on the couch over there.
No,
No.
see, Karen's wasn't resolved, but I think, and Diane hasn't heard back, so,
But you saying no, I don't know what no to.
The elder abuse committee or the person I've talked to several times said they tried calling the office and they were never called back.
they were.
But you said you only talked to them once.
That's the only time I've ever received a phone call from anybody.
Okay.
Okay, for the tenants, I think the lesson is, in today's world, persistence. You know, that's just the reality, you know. There just isn't the instant service always, so you just have to stay on top of them. And we'll figure out a way to work better with them, maybe.
You mentioned at one point, Joe, I believe it was our last meeting, conflict resolution.
Yeah.
I don't know how to affect that. I know
Well-
a simple policy isn't gonna do it, but it's
Yeah,
worth a
well,
shot.
it isn't. I mean, the only teeth is, you know, in this case, it seems to me, the only teeth in these situations are some form of punishment or banishment. That's all you can do to stop it. Because emotionally, there's a trigger, boom, you know, it sets off the cycle again and you just can't.
Still not in our purview to do that.
Well,
We
I
have
get
no
to
right to do
look,
anything.
I don't argue that, but we're still a board. This is still an important issue, and we need to talk about it, and we need to find ways to help the tenants ourselves. Even though, yes, it's not in our absolute authority, but we need to find a path here that basically works for our residents. That's all I'm basically saying. So, okay. Who was next on the list? And Diane?
She already went.
Oh, what, and we already covered what you wanted to cover? Okay. Dawn?
Oh, I crossed my name out, but
Oh,
I do have a question.
sure.
For Tammy, I'm sorry. Tammy,
It's just for the TV.
you had a great idea a few months ago about that
That's to go
robocall.
into the
Has
tape.
anything come about that, with that?
Yep, we're still working on getting signed up for it. The girl I was dealing with I got an email today, has left the company. So
Oh,
I'm starting all over again.
okay, but that's still in the
Yes,
plans,
it's
right?
definitely something I'm gonna do because then it's, like it would have been easier today to let everybody know that
Yeah.
the guys aren't coming to work on the lawn.
Right, and you don't have to
So-
hang the notices in the hallways for the meeting, so
Yep.
it just, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
thanks, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the last person on the list is Kelly.
Good afternoon. I'm just wondering how come an agenda for this meeting is never given out in advance? Per CMR 7603, an agenda is supposed to be provided in advance for everyone to have adequate time to review it and to formulate thoughts and questions.
Can we ask who's speaking, please?
I'm sorry, what?
Who are you?
Kelly, I'm from Amherst Street.
Lieutenant?
Yes,
Okay.
3A.
So the agenda, meeting agendas are put in the laundry room and the hallway here in front of the office every month.
And for the residents at the other location?
No,
I-
you
they're
have to
not.
come up here.
No, you have to come up here to the office.
And some people can't do that and they don't have rides. Is there a reason why this can't be done electronically at this day and age?
If everybody wants to give their email address,
I have suggested that in the past. Not
Okay.
only for emails to be shared for this, but for other things, and I was told no.
I will be happy to email you every month what the board meeting, any other tenant would like to give me their email address to have notification of it, I will set it up so Shelley can send it out every month.
That would,
Sending out all these.
no,
No, I would just
no,
be
that's
giving
not,
them,
That was
just
Okay.
this.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
And by the way,
it
several,
doesn't change though.
I know, it doesn't change, and several of those points in terms of the agenda are listed in the public, notification of the meeting, because we have to list the
It-
things that we're going to discuss.
It's on the town, it's up at the town hall, and it
Yes.
is here.
Yes.
So if you have internet, you can get it that way.
Well, she did, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
yeah, absolutely.
We do have a 15-minute time limit.
Well, that's
for
fine,
people to
that's
be
fine.
talking.
Oh,
Go ahead.
It's been 2 minutes. I think I'm okay so far. CMR 766.09 says that tenants can talk about anything they wish that affects their welfare. So at meetings, when you give additional policies that kind of supersede the state's outline of what can be talked about in meetings, who does that get approved by? Other than you.
What number in 6.9 are you reading?
4.
6.094.
Residents can talk about anything related to rights, status, duty, or welfare. So this has been a concern of several residents, that they've been shut down and they've been told they could not talk about things that
Is
were
that under
directly.
LTO?
This
LTO
is-
and resident participation?
No, this is,
6.094, residents can talk about anything related to rights, status, duty, or welfare.
All right, I'm trying to find it for them because they don't.
in
have-
public meeting?
Yes. Yes.
Well, but by DHCD policy and the advice of the lawyers,
This is through an LTO. This is about the LTOs.
we don't even, we're not even required to offer a public comment.
It says LTO and resident participation. That's with the LTO. We don't have an LTO here.
Right, and so when I contacted the state and asked, when that doesn't exist, what happens? And they said residents are their own. So there is
Okay.
not a board for somebody to represent the residents, so each resident has to represent themselves. We don't
It
get our
says-
rights taken away from us just because we don't have an
Provide all
LTO.
the residents the opportunity to be heard. To be heard.
Through the
And
organization.
Through the organization. It's not, we don't have.
There is no organization, is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Well, if there isn't, the purpose of 760 CMR 6.09 is to encourage the formation of representative organizations and to provide all residents the opportunity to be heard on and participate in matters affecting the interest of the residents. You have no right to the board meeting itself. What you have a right to is to form tenant organizations and try to address those interests. Then, for those points, you can bring that to the executive director. But I don't see this where you have the right in board open meeting to do this. This refers to an LTO.
And in absence of an LTO, according to the state, residents act
Where
as
is
their
that in
own.
writing?
It's what the state has told me.
Well, where is that in writing? Okay.
They're in absence of an LTO. It's actually in there. I didn't note that, but it actually says what happens when there is no LTO. It says that, and let's talk about the spirit of this statute to begin with. The purpose is to encourage participation.
PLC shall allow residents to participate consistent with good business practices and matters
We're having an
directly affecting
executive meeting
residents. Where there is no
quick one, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
participation shall include, but not limited to, reasonable participation.
Other
of
tenants are being
residents in
discouraged from
renovation
coming because they feel like they can't
similar
talk
to
about
what
what's really
we're about
concerning
to
them
do.
because it's not necessarily on a very generalized agenda that just gets copied and pasted each time. So they feel if they can't talk about what they really need to talk about, why would they bother coming?
Okay.
And we are told time and time again that we're not supposed to contact the board directly. So there is no other way to talk to the board unless we are right here, right now.
You're not supposed to talk to the board. The board sets policy technically. You're
Okay.
supposed to talk to the executive director.
Okay, let me interrupt you right there. And when our issue is with the executive director, the board is supposed to have somebody else with equal or greater power that a resident can go to. Because it is a massive conflict of interest, you all know this. It's a massive conflict of interest that I have been forced repeatedly to deal with Tammy herself over and over again when we all know that's who my issue is with. It is ridiculous that a victim has to deal with her aggressor in trying to resolve issues. And nobody has given me an additional recourse. According to the state, in situations just like this, where my grievance is against the person I'm supposed to turn it into, there is actually supposed to be an alternate person or somebody with greater power. I was told you are the greater power, that I'm supposed to be able to go to you. Because who else am I supposed to go to?
I think it's DHCD is supposed to.
DHCD, just like with other grievances, will bring in other executive directors, which we pay a fee to, and they will do the hearings. So that's
Okay.
reality in terms of, I don't want to talk publicly about your situation.
Oh,
Tammy's on top of that, and that's a private situation.
Um,
But
it's-
if I'm not
it's not.
mistaken, we are bringing an executive director into this next meeting. Is that not correct?
He was here
You
for the first
brought
and
one
he was
in
here for the-
who
Uh-huh.
then had inappropriate conduct and now have requested a different individual, and Tammy has denied that request. I will do exactly what happened to me
Okay,
at the
okay,
meeting.
okay, then here's what I,
This is uncomfortable because this is what happened to me at the meeting.
Please, we get back over there.
That's,
No,
no.
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 This is a board. You
Yes.
have passed the
hey,
line.
just calm down, I'll let you do it, but just give me 6
You
feet,
sit there.
okay? Okay, go
This
ahead.
is what happened to me at the meeting. And I sent you all this, so I hope you listened to it because it was recorded. The man looked at me, and when he said, I am not prepared for this meeting because Tammy didn't give me everything I need, I said, okay. And he said, don't look at me like that.
Please put your mask back on.
So that's what he did to me. Was that
Mhm.
appropriate? No. So I filed a complaint saying I would not meet with that
Okay.
gentleman again, and she has denied that request.
Okay, so what I suggest that you do is you write a letter to DHCD. I suggest that you try to get them to put it in their hands in terms of the resolution. But let's not forget one thing, okay? Part of the key of your whole situation is
Ken.
appropriate, is the detailed information that's required to do the calculation. And that is mandated. Those instructions all come from DHCD in Boston.
Just by that statement alone, I know that you have not read what I have sent because I have sent Tammy an excessive amount of proof for everything, so much so that she has forgotten to include it. So it's not that I haven't provided enough, I've provided an excessive amount. My next statement is, I would like an organizational chart. Above Tammy
Organizational
is
chart.
who? The board. Above the board is
Organizational
who?
chart.
An organizational chart.
We don't have an organizational
I would
chart.
like one, please.
We don't
Well,
have one.
we don't
So
have
create
one.
one, please.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, so when I have a problem with anybody sitting right here, what happens next?
They're elected officials.
So
We are
so I
elected
go
officials.
To, so I
If you
go
have a
to the
problem,
select board?
okay, the town now has, I believe we passed at the last town meeting, because I'm on finance committee. A year ago, we passed a regulation so that you can impeach and recall. So what you can do is you can go to town hall, okay, you can get paperwork, and you can write up something to have a recall, okay, to have myself recalled or any member here recalled. You have no recourse on that. Tammy is an employee and maintenance is an employee of DHCD. But for any of us who are elected officials, we have a recall policy. So to get rid of us, that is your remedy, is to get a petition signed so that then we can have a vote to recall one or more members of the board.
Why would I want to get rid of people who have refused to even acknowledge serious concerns?
I'm saying, you asked me for a remedy.
Okay, and
I'm telling you what the remedy is,
Then
okay?
I'm asking each board member, why have I not heard from you and why have you let this situation escalate?
Because we're not allowed to talk to you directly according to the lawyer that DHCD has assigned us to.
Then why wouldn't you tell me that?
Because we're not supposed to communicate back to you.
But you
All you
can't.
have to do is talk to Tammy and know
Are
that
you
we are
kidding?
not.
Do you not hear me? She is my aggressor. You continue to force me to talk to my aggressor. Do you know what a conflict that is?
Well, you have to go to DHCD. You have to go directly to DHCD for that. You can recall us, you can do whatever, okay? You can go out and pursue your remedies, but that's what you have to do.
I'm disheartened that when talking about the elder care, you acknowledged that there was a serious issue with bullying, and that even though, Gloria, you said it's out of your purview, you said, you know what, but it still is a serious issue and it still should matter. But there's nothing related to bullying for Hillside Heights. And there's nothing related to bullying when it continues to be the director against an individual.
You need to file a complaint
I
with
heard you.
elder care. Well, you don't qualify for elder care. That's your remedy then.
My remedy was to file grievances. I followed the procedure and it has not been followed back.
Because you haven't gotten what you wanted.
I have not heard from anybody about the grievances I filed in October. What is supposed to happen now?
Actually, Kelly, you did.
No.
I have the
There-
I have the letters.
Okay,
You might have letters that you typed up, but you certainly did not mail them. And I really honestly hope that you have recordings of you doing that, because if that's your only proof, Tammy, it's weak. It's the exact reason why I asked you to send me everything electronically from now on.
Mhm.
You obviously, I'm very upset about these issues. Why would I not respond to a meeting?
I'm really,
Come
this
on.
isn't board related.
Yeah, we can't do anything about
My
that.
next thing, ticks, pesticides, etc. If we're not allowed to use our own pesticides and we have to use one that's approved, can we not just get a letter of which products are approved? Ticks have been a major issue since I've moved in, and they refuse to cut the grass to appropriate levels behind my unit, which is a hill, and weed whacking has never once been done appropriately. My kid and my dogs always have ticks on them, and so if you're telling us we can't use standard things, can you please supply a list of what products you do approve so I don't have to submit over and over again what product I would like to use?
That's the policy. You submit the product and we approve it. That is the policy.
So you want me to go to a store, find a product, write a letter, see if you approve it, wait for you to deny or approve it, and then if you deny, I go to the store again, pick another one, and do the whole thing over again?
Well, you could do it online and submit it without buying it or going to the store, yes.
No, well, yes, I definitely wouldn't buy it. Wouldn't it not be easier to just let all the residents know which organic products you approve of?
I don't. There are so many.
We have an organic fertilizer that we have found over at the grain store.
One product, yeah, that would be
That-
fine.
mhm.
As long as it's available, yeah.
It's just a fertilizer, it's not a tick control. I will talk to the exterminator who will be here on Monday.
Can't they put something on their pet?
They can,
Yeah.
they can.
Okay, so what? That's what I do, I just put something
I
on my
do.
cat.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna kill the ticks anyway. Cold
Right.
winters doesn't kill them. Nothing
No.
kills the ticks. Anybody who thinks they do, you're throwing your money to the wind.
Yeah.
Well, the last place I lived before having to move in here, I had no tick issues on my dogs.
Right.
Well, she lived
And
on
all of the
Aldrich
children
Street.
now around me have ticks.
She lived on Aldrich Street.
Aldrich Street, across from the lake. That's where I used to live.
Right there.
Next, CMR 760 6.08. Number 2 says that prompt and reliable determination of grievance policies, if repeatedly fails, is considered deficient and needs to be replaced. When being replaced, tenants are supposed to have a say in the grievance policy. So I'm now stating that your grievance procedure is deficient. It has, according to this definition, it has failed repeatedly.
Okay, so you need
She
to,
got up and left the meeting. She wanted to reschedule it because I didn't give 2 of the 6
No.
grievances she turned.
Tammy, that is incorrect. You cannot just make stuff up. You did not give the representative any of the grievances from October. That was 4. You also did not give
So,
him 2 of the 6
Hang on a
from
second, Kelly.
March.
So the grievance procedure, when you turn in a grievance.
Yep.
It is those 6 pieces of paper you
Joe?
turned in that get
Joe?
turned into the
Or-
grievance officer.
Yeah.
And those are the
Let's
ones,
stick to
and
our
then whatever
policy.
you
She's
have
wanting
that is
3 minutes.
supporting those
No, I
pieces
know.
of paper.
Yep.
Just, we gotta cut.
That's
just-
what you turn
this
into
is a
him
mess. I
that
asked
day
you
of the
to try, but
grievance
I'm gonna
hearing.
cut it off.
Tammy, you did not give him
So-
6 of the grievances.
You're right, I didn't. I said that.
Right.
So, I'm not supposed to give him the October, I
Why?
am giving him the March.
Why not the October? I have not had a hearing for October, and one of my 6 from March is the complaint. So now what
I will.
happens?
okay. What we're going to do is we're going to cut this off now because you've had more of your time. We've heard all about it, so what
Oh, you have not even heard half of it.
Well, your time is up for today, so you
Okay.
can bring the other stuff back next time. So what we suggest is the exact documents that you want addressed. I want those re-put in an email, all 6.
10.
Okay, all 10 now. Let's put them all together, and if that's everything, then I will call John Height again, and we'll see what we're going to do.
I'm sorry, sir, I will not meet with somebody who spoke with me the way he did. You are going to find
Well-
another individual, or you will have to bring this to court. You cannot force me to sit with an
We
individual.
don't have to do
who-
anything with this as a board. It's up to Tammy on
It's
how to
up
deal
my
with.
aggressor to decide the course. Do you?
No, you call her the executive director,
No.
okay?
No, I will call her what has been happening.
And what are you, if not an aggressor?
A tenant.
No, you're an
A very-
aggressor too. Listen to your tone. Listen to
October.
everything.
October. It's been since October and I've been ignored. October. And I've had no recourse. She has threatened me with eviction multiple times. She told me if I didn't get more custody of my son, I no longer qualified for housing.
Those, whatever
It's
she
all
has.
recorded and
Okay,
nobody has
okay,
helped.
okay, here's what I'm gonna suggest you do, and then the conversation's over. No more dialogue, okay, because we need to move on, and this is not the appropriate forum for that.
I haven't been
Okay,
able to reach
okay,
you any other
Seek out a
way.
lawyer. I want you to go, you
Yes.
get your lawyer, because you're complaining
Yes.
about eviction and all that.
Yep.
You get your lawyer together, and then we'll figure out how they're going to represent you, and we'll resolve it. I want to throw your case back to DHCD and have them and the lawyer, and they'll tell us what they want us to do
Please
again.
do. That would have been nice a long time ago.
But there will be no, oh, here's documents, oh, I need to give you more documents. Whatever you put together as documents, that's your case, okay? That's everything. There's no, oh, I didn't do that, the hearing went against me, if it goes against
There's
you.
a policy for how this is supposed to go. It's just that Tammy has not followed it. That is my
That
word.
policy
We
is,
are done.
just cut it, okay? I'm sorry, but management interprets the way that you're interpreting the policy a bit differently. Yes, you may have some rights, but you have to go through the grievance policy. And the grievance policy by the DHCD says you start with the executive director. Okay, that's
I
it.
tried. And
Well,
I
then you
did
have
not
to
get
keep
my
trying.
hearing.
Next.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on from public comment. What do we have next? Treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report, they're all attached together. Did you need a copy or did you? I didn't know.
I've already read it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, any questions on the treasurer's report, guys?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, it's not in there, or you don't have any questions?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have any questions.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report April 30th, 2022.
Second motion?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gloria, did you vote?
Yes, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, what's next?
The warrant report.
The warrant report. No, I already read it. I didn't have any questions.
I have no questions. I'll make a motion to approve the warrant report May 1st through May 31st, 2022.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just the one item. Marin at Hampshire Power's gone forward, so pretty much all of our alternative energy credits are locked in. For the most part, I think he's trying to lock in something a little bit higher on a couple of things. So we can expect about, coming back to us, we can expect about $68,000.
And where's that gonna go?
That will go into one of the accounts that,
Our Finn's Hill account?
that's going to go into the Housing Authority account.
Our housing authority?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, it's my understanding that the state wants half of that money, DHCD. And my position is, we're the only place that has had a heat pump problem, and we have to do added maintenance, so I am going to try to battle to make sure that we keep the other 50%.
They told you
Because,
that they want half
because
of
the,
that?
oh yeah, the state, before, at the beginning of all this, the state was trying to take 100% of it from each of the housing authorities.
Okay.
So then they established a policy of 50%. But I am still going to fight that policy based on the fact that, you know, we have a heat pump problem that nobody else has.
Can I
Go
ask,
ahead.
where did the money initially come from?
Okay,
Was that-
these are alternative energy credits. If anybody has done solar, under the old rules, you had SRECs, Solar Regional Energy Credits. So this was a government incentive for you to put solar into the facility. So now we had heat pumps, and there was an incentive to do that. But what the state did is the state went from the SRECs, Solar Regional because we were pushing more alternative energy, okay, to this alternative energy credits mechanism, so that it takes into account not just solar, but it takes into account heat pumps, wood chip burning, stuff, whatever was qualifying for that. So based on how that calculation is done, and we went to Hampshire Power because they worked on this forever, that's what we're going to get. I think they get, I forget what their fee is, so I think they get about 7,000 of the money and we get the rest, so. Yeah, so in the beginning they wanted all of it, and now they just want half of it, so. But my job is to make sure that they don't get any of it.
Good luck.
Okay. Anything else anybody want to bring up? Okay.
We're gonna
Next
go into
meeting?
executive.
No, we don't have executive session here, so we're going to go out of this meeting. After it clears in, we are going to go into our decision meeting. These kinds of meetings never have to be published or anything, so. Okay, so I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh.
Well, before we do, we have to set the June meeting.
Okay.
I am on vacation until the 14th, the 9th through the 14th
Of June?
of June. The meeting would be the 15th of June. I'm just wondering if we could wait a week,
Yeah, we can push it back to,
Wednesday, the 22nd?
is
Fine.
everybody fine with the 22nd?
Can I please ask that the information comes out to us a week before, because
My eyes are just, I understand that. I've had difficulty reading, so it's hard to type and
Okay,
fix things, so I'm reading fine now.
okay,
Good.
so we'll get it earlier,
June 22nd.
Is it 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, unless somebody else needs a different time.
Cool.
Okay, is that okay with you, Don?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Think you can get here on time?
Oh, can I?
Watch out,
June
Okay.
22.
Miss
22
At 2,
and 2.
6:22 at 2.
You might have to call me and remind me.
Joe,
Okay.
there's this. Take that back.
There's your petition.
Okay,
Okay, I need a motion.
Room before you start.
Okay, but we're gonna just adjourn this meeting first, and then we'll call the other to
Tammy,
order.
these checks are
Thank you.
Okay.
all
Remove my
set.
motion to adjourn?
Yes,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.